So in this video, I'm going to talk about just some complexities of the world. And I know that sounds boring, but it's actually going to be pretty good. Um, One of the things that people always, kind of question is what's life about? What am I seeking? What am I looking for? All that stuff. Big questions, big things, and those are important questions. And there's probably answers to those and all those. But I want to step back and get you to think about the world. What's going on in the complexity of the world? Because when I see the world, I see it from a particular lens, right? I see it from an engineering or a business or financial or whatever lens, because of what I've learned and what I know about the world and how things work. And each person's perspective is a little bit different because they have a different background, they have a different history, they have different things that they think are true or fact or fiction or whatever that may be. And so that shapes the world around them and shapes their view and their perspective and their outlook and what they do and all those things. But there is truth. There are certain things that are true. There are certain things that are true in science. There are certain things that are true in life. There are certain things that are truths. Gravity. That's a fact. Light works a particular way. People act a particular way. Strategy is optimized in a particular way. Financial markets are structured in a particular way. So these things have truth to them, and people can argue or go back and forth about what is true and what is not. But at the end of the day, there's a truth. There is. And there are these things that, fall into each of these realms. There's the physical truth, there's the man-made truths about, programming and structures and organizations, and all these things can be figured out. And then there's the truths of, life and how that works. And I mean biological life, plants and animals and people. And those are very complex systems, and the truths to those are mostly mysteries. People don't understand those things because they're so complex. And then there's the truths to how people act and how people should act, or how people respond to particular things, a psychological aspect. And people think they figure out things in certain realms. They think that they can really lock down things, and in some they can. In the engineering type stuff they can. The mathematics, they can lock down a lot of things. In life, though, in physical, biological life, very, very complex, and it's very difficult to lock down things on that one. But then people think even bigger about the grand scheme of things and why people are here and the meaning of life and all that. And some people think they have that locked down too. But there's these things that reoccur no matter what you believe. There's these things that reoccur. Okay, there's these things that everybody loves and everybody respects and everybody gets. These ideas of perseverance and of love and of courage and of honor and things like that. These are things that transcend cultures, that transcend belief systems. It's just these things of human nature that people look at and say that is good. Okay, so with that in mind, there's this kind of thing built in to people. There's this thing kind of built into to how things work in that aspect as well. And it's not optimized for survival. It's not optimized for this, treating people as animals. It's not optimized for that. It's actually optimized for something else. And when people look at something, whenever someone brings to you something that they created, and it looks good and it's cool, and they put their heart and their mind and their soul into it, and they built that, maybe it's a company, maybe it's a product, maybe it's a painting, maybe it's a sculpture, whatever it is, they created something and they built something. And whenever you show someone that and it's good, they look at that and they say, wow, you made this, right? You made this? And it's looked on as wow, you created something. And this creation of things is a huge thing. It's just a huge thing for anybody, for any culture, for anything. It's interesting to me, right, that so much is centered around these traits that are well respected across the board. These things that people do that is just well respected across the board. And then there's these physical mechanisms and structures and how things are organized that can be easily outlined across the board. Now again, it takes a pretty big view to see all these things, but they're all there, and there is all truth to to each of these things. And the truth is muddled when people don't understand. And so understanding, like I mentioned in one of my other videos, it's so huge. But it always comes back to what is your driving factor? What do you love, or why are you here? What is life actually about? Because here's the thing. Everyone's going to die. Everyone that's watching this video, you're going to die. period. It doesn't matter how you go. You might be hit by a truck tomorrow. Sorry if that happens. Didn't mean to jinx you. Or you might you get a disease, or you might just die of old age. X amount of years from now. But the fact of the matter is that you're going somewhere, and no one except maybe one, few people actually, have never skipped death. Okay. It just happens to everybody, right? You die. And no one wants to think about that. No one wants to, confront that. But it's always there. It's always, if I go outside, drive my car, every time I pass another car, it's like knocking on my door, right? That guy could swerve over and then it's over, right? But then you're dead, okay? What then? What's going on now? All this stuff that you learned, all these things that you created, all these connections and these people, they're all still there. But where did you go? What happened then? And it's big questions like that are very interesting to me, that people don't think about that more often, because it's there. It's sitting there. It's just as I'm talking to you, it is that real, that there is something else, that there is a bigger reason, that there is this mechanism that controls everything, that is structured around everything, that everything is wrapped up in, that this is not a thing by chance. Like the world's, fine, there's smart people out there who think that, this all happened randomly and, by chance and all that stuff. Look, I'm a smart guy too, and didn't happen like that, all right? So it's just not the case. And, again, people can argue with that all they want. Everyone's going to have their opinion, but truth is truth. And the truth is that if you step back and you really look at how things are organized and how things are structured everywhere you look, okay, and you go back and you try and churn through in your mind, the structure and the mechanisms and the reasoning and all these things, there is something else going on. There is something bigger going on. There is something that people are supposed to do and supposed to serve and supposed to be about, and everybody seems to rally around certain traits that are good, that display love, that display creating, that display this perseverance and this ability of, being in harmony with how things are supposed to be. People being in harmony with one another, people being, in harmony with the world and God and everything together. And so there's this grand scheme that transcends all these little pockets, all these areas, all these mechanisms. If you look at them, and I can see a lot of them. I've been around the block a bit. If you look at all of them, you step back, and it's like, wow, there is something really, really interesting going on here. And it's interpersonal, it's interrelational, it's intercultural, it's between physical and spiritual and people, and it's this huge, big, cool thing. So really, don't ever lose your sense of wonder, and seek truth in everything you do. But there's a bigger and a greater truth that is out there, and it's worth thinking about, because we're only here for a certain amount of time. That's a fact. No one can argue that. And there's something about that. There's a reason I'm talking to you now. There's a reason you're listening now. There's a reason you're in this, that you're here, that you can even hear that you can even process that in your mind. Like, it's going through your mind right now. It's crazy to me. But anyway, never lose your sense of wonder. And think about that. Think about what is life and what's it about, and go figure it out. So that's it.